I am so excited to let you know we are getting ready to host a very special podcast show. I call it being in the lab, is what I'm saying. And my name is Derek Bowles. People refer to me as Mr. Unstoppable. We're getting ready to do a podcast called University Through Adversity with a good friend of mine. I'm going to let him make a quick introduction. But the biggest thing is we can really talk about stuff that's profound, impactful, and that's happening real time. Tyrone, can you give everybody a quick introduction of who you are and a little bit of background?
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Tyrell Moodley. I'm a fintech blockchain crypto expert. Worked on Bay Street building hedging software and mortgage-backed securities for banks and insurance companies. Built NFT marketplaces, and now I'm building Africa's own Bitcoin. I met Derek 2 years ago in Vegas when I gave a speech at a conference, and we just became buddies. And I said to him, Derek, something tells me, the Holy Spirit tells me that we need to be working together. And 2 years later, we're doing this podcast. So Derek, I'm going to hand it over back to you.
Yeah, I'm just excited. And again, I love how he referred to our relationship because at the end of the day, and I'm going to continue to say this, and you'll hear me say this every time you tune into our podcast show. It's always about the relationship. And so Tyrone and I have built a very special relationship. He is a genius in multiple areas. I'm excited to call him a friend. And now we're getting ready to partner really to help educate and provide information and hopefully change people's minds on how the world is changing. And as we can see right now, our world is shifting at a very unbelievable rate in multiple spaces. So the question is, are we going to shift with it or are we going to be in status quo? And so my question to you guys are, let's shift with it. So Tyrone, let's talk right off the top. What's one of the things that has drew you and I together that we're working on right now to give a little bit of background so people understand a little bit of what we're focusing on and where our energy's at?
So Derek, when I first met you, I was in Vegas talking about tokenizing cattle, and everybody laughed at me and they said, "What, you're going to tokenize a cow? How are you going to do that?" Well, I said, you know what? They're tokenizing cats in Vancouver with Dapper Labs. They're doing these crypto kitties. They just raised 1.2 million for an NFT cat. But my uncle in the village in Zambia can't raise, $1,000 for his cow, and he's got a physical cow in the village, and these guys are raising $1 million for a fake cat. So I wanted to connect DeFi with traditional finance and bring cheap credit to people in the village, in my village, back in my mother's village in Africa.
So a lot of what it is letting people really figure out ways to monetize stuff that they're currently doing so they can continue to operate as entrepreneurs. Is that the best way to describe what you're talking about?
The traditional banking system has left a lot of people behind. In the West, we tend to say the unbanked. And the unbanked is just a very diplomatic way of saying that the forgotten people, right? The people that nobody cared about. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's saying, "Oh, we need to worry about these people, these poor people in Africa that are unbanked." And, for 100 years, nobody cared about them. It was like they could just continue paying interest loans at, 30% interest and dealing with loan sharks, but the banks forgot about them. So my whole philosophy is, decentralizing power, decentralizing systems, allowing people in the village to basically build their own wealth. For example, in Sinda province in Zambia, we're dealing with a group of 10,000 farmers, and we went in and we said to them, you know what, we're going to provide you guys with water, with tractors, with fertilizers, seed. We're going to increase your yields by 300% because currently you're waiting for the rain. So we're going to provide you with water, right? Because number one, water is life, Number two, we're going to provide you with electricity. We're going to set up solar farms because with electricity now, you can read at night and you can power your irrigation equipment. And let's say that you had EV tractors, you could charge your EV tractors to increase your productivity, and you can also set up cold storage. So now all the food that you produce can be frozen and can be transported much more cheaply and efficiently. When we did this, you know what the chief said to us?
Or
He
was
said,
it?
"You got a gold and copper mine that we're going to give you because we want you to find the money to come and mine this stuff so that you can create a sovereign wealth fund for our people."
Mm.
I told them, I said, I don't have the money to do this. They said, we don't care how long it takes. You're a Zambian. You're close to the money in New York and Toronto. Take as long as you want, because we're not just going to give this asset away. Because what Africans don't want is colonization 2.0. We've already been colonized and we've already been exploited. The wound is still new, right? So we get it. Now it's time for partnerships. And Derek, this is why you and I are talking.
Man, I love that. And, one of the things that resonates with me, and you already know, is, I am all about facing and dealing with adversity. And I think what you're talking about, university through adversity, is really what we're getting ready to talk about, because unfortunately, people get taken advantage of because they're trying to do the right thing. And the problem with that is they lose the opportunity to create their livelihood, create their legacy, and create their mission. And so I'm excited because the stuff we're talking about is going to help a lot of people, a lot of people.
Now, Derek, you told me something yesterday that I didn't know. And I was so impressed by it that, we made you a song, right? Now, I'd love to play this song, if that's all right with you.
I mean, I'm always interested because you're such a genius. So I'm absolutely open to hear what you have. What did you create?
Okay, it's called University
Just
to
believe.
Invest. So it's called University to Invest.
No letter in the mail, no name on the list, no handshake waiting, no promise like this. Just a plain ticket paid with belief and doubt. One way flight, had to figure it out.
Absolutely.
No
Well,
agent
back in
calling,
the
no
day,
recruiter
before
ring,
the
just a quiet voice
Pro-Am
saying
League
you're
that
built for
happens in
this
Las
thing.
Vegas,
Sat in the crowd where the lights feel heavy.
every year,
Heartbeat
it
loud,
used
but
to
the
be
mind
in
stays
different
steady.
cities. And it used to
Everybody
be
told me wait your turn.
at Long Beach State
But I was
at the
tired of watching
Pyramid,
from the
which is
curb.
one of the top facilities
never
where a lot of the top players who played in the NBA would show up, and it'd be like a vacation, and it would be happening during the summer. And so I was trying to, earn my opportunity to become a professional basketball player. And I just realized that you got to be around and in the space and with those who are at the best of the game. And so I went and played in that Pro-Am League. I had an agent out of Chicago who flew me out there for a couple of weeks and played for my hotel and my food, and I had a chance to play against some of the best. And I ended up sitting next to the director of, it was called the FILA Pro-Am League, for those you who don't know. And I sat next to her, and she said, "Oh yeah, the Lakers play next." And then she looked at me and said, "Would you like to be on that All-Star team to play against the Lakers?" And for me, obviously, I know two things, and people don't understand this, but I do, and I understand at a pretty high level. To emerge as one of the best, you got to be around, and you got to compete against, and you got to play against the best. And so I took that immediately as an opportunity for me to play against some of the best players who played for the Lakers at the time. And I ended up getting in the game and guarding one of the best to ever play the game, a guy by the name of Kobe Bryant. The Kobe Bryant. So unfortunately, he passed away, but I had a chance to guard him. And I promise you, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about him. And then I learned a lot about how the game works. And sometimes it's not if you can play, it's about, are you in the right place at the right time so people can see you so you can get that right opportunities. So hopefully what we're doing together, even with this podcast, is getting people to understand we're putting people in the right situation at the right time so that they can move forward, whatever their journey is, so that they can have resources to make things happen.
Wow, that was, that again, every time I hear that story, it just makes me smile, because that's what being Unstoppables is, right? Like, not allowing, your situation to block you, right? How do you get around, people telling you no, right?
Yeah, well, and I hate to say this, and that's the world we live in, is people always want to tell you what you're not able to do and what you're not capable of making happen. And so sometimes you can listen to them, you can hear their words, but you don't have to accept it. And that's what I believe is in my spirit and how I move. I'm going to move in a space where I can make all my dreams and ideas become a reality. And I think that's a big deal.
That story, it just makes me smile, because, in a long way, it reminds me of my story as well. Being an immigrant in the US, being an immigrant in Canada, and having the door shut on me multiple times. I've had to sort of, rise above the occasion. I tried to get an account with one of the largest stablecoin companies in the US, and they just rejected me for no reason. They said, even though I'm Canadian, I'm a Canadian citizen, I am fully licensed in Zambia, I have all my licenses, they said no to me. And when people say no to me, I see that as an opportunity to show them what I can do. So you were told no, and now you went to Long Beach and you had this meeting with this lady, and now all of a sudden you're playing one of the greatest in the world, and you're guarding him, and then you get this contract to go to Taipei, Taiwan. That's incredible.
Correct. Correct. Well, and I think a lot of times, and I want to just add to that because that's really been, the world that we live in. Unfortunately, there are people who are, I consider them dream killers who stop you from walking in what you've been called to do. And their words can break you, or if you're mentally strong enough, it can make you. It can make you kind of look in the mirror and say, your words carry no weight with me. You just happen to be talking, and I'm deciding I'm not listening to what you have to say. And so I think that could be, especially we're seeing it right now, unfortunately. We're seeing it in multiple areas in our world. We're seeing bullying taking place. We're seeing people being taken advantage of. We're seeing racism. And one of the things that I'm super excited about, and I'm getting ready to go to Atlanta and spend time with Beyond the Game, speaking to 600 student athletes from all over the Atlanta school district. And one of the people that I'm meeting there is a person that I have looked up to, have followed, and who I've had a number of conversations with, Dr. John W. Carlos, who ran the Olympics in 1968. John has been very influential in the civil rights movement in San Jose State, won a gold medal in Mexico, and him and Tommy held up their fists with a black glove. And so I'm going to get a chance to spend some time with him as well. But my point is, we're seeing those things reemerge, and we got to find ways to put an end to that stuff.
So you were also a coach, right? You coached a G League, NBA.
Yeah, I was in charge of player development. Our head coach was a guy by the name of Brian Gates, who is with the Phoenix Suns right now, and then our assistant coach was a guy by the name of Ray Lopes, who was the head coach at Fresno State, and then I was in charge of player development. So I had a very interesting role because I was the guy who would keep the team from, getting at the head coach. That's really what I was doing. I was making sure that they could play when they got into the game and keep their minds in a good space so they could perform at a high level. So yeah, so I won the Western Division my first year, and then 2006 we won the entire thing. So I was a part of a pretty profound organization.
Which team was that?
It was called the Idaho Stampede. The Idaho
Idaho
Stampede.
Stampede. Okay,
Yep,
cool.
you can look them up on Google, and you may see a photo of me. They don't give the coaches any love, but all our players, we had some guys who play. We had some guys who play.
Oh, that's incredible. So you're a player, you're a coach, you're a father. You have 4 kids, right? Did your son just get into university as well? He's playing
Yep,
ball.
yep, yep. So my daughter Jasmine played her basketball at University of North Texas, Mean Green. So she was in Texas, and Javante's at the junior college, and then I have 2 little ones, Jacoby and Jayla, who I think, as I continue to build the Unstoppable brand, they'll be able to carry the legacy moving forward because they understand the mental toughness that you have to have when everybody looks at you and tells you no. What do you really got to do? You got to look at yourself and say yes.
Unstoppables. So when I first met you, and you introduced yourself as Mr. Unstoppables, I thought, wow, this is such an amazing opportunity to work with someone like you. It's such a privilege to meet somebody who's actually out there and doing stuff. And when you told me your story, it kind of resonated with me because it hit me hard when you mentioned, if you want to let the viewers know, what is it, the one thing that happened in Idaho, sorry, that caused you to stop in your development?
I think there was a number of things that happened, but just dealing with life and death and surviving that experience, and your perspectives, your mindset shifts, and you really start to live your life presently. and with purpose. And so, I'm in a space now where I'm getting ready to travel the world doing a tour called The Courage to Lead. I'm speaking in middle, high schools, and colleges across the country. I have built relationships with HBCUs. I'm going to be at the HBCU All-Star Game. There's a lot of things that are unfolding. And for me, it's really to share my message on it doesn't matter who's in your corner. It doesn't matter who endorses you. It doesn't matter if you have the right credentials. It doesn't matter any of those things. What matters is, do you believe in yourself? And can you take your idea and manifest it and make it a reality? And people don't understand that in itself is a gift. A lot of people can't do that. And so I'm thankful that I'm still in that space. And I'm thankful that I leave tomorrow morning at 6 to fly to Phoenix, Arizona. And, here right now, we're having one of the worst snowstorms in the history of the Midwest. And so it's negative 15 right now as I'm looking out the window. But I can't wait to be in 75 and sunny tomorrow morning.
Very jealous of you right now because I'm in Toronto and I think we get that weather all the time. not the 75 degrees, but I mean I've been to Scottsdale many times. My brother lives there, so and you met my brother. You met my whole family when we were in Chicago. So Derek is now family. So
That's great. That's great. Now this has been good. And again, I want you to take a little bit more time to discuss, really, what we're partnering on, what we're working on. Because I want people to, one of the reasons why people don't make decisions is they don't have all the information. And so I would love for you to give just a high level overview and maybe link the website so people can start doing their own due diligence so they can do their own research. So give us an overview so everybody can tune in on the DAPI and what we're currently doing.
So at its core, DAPI it's a token, it's a utility token, it's a platform too. We have a tokenization engine, we have a multi-tenant, multi-chain e-commerce platform. We can handle machine-to-machine AI agents communicating and making payments for different things. But at its core, we're building Africa's Bitcoin. 21 million tokens and allowing different decentralized autonomous organizations to function underneath a single umbrella DAO. And if you think about it, like, for example, we spoke about the community in Eastern Province in Cinda. We're going to tokenize their land, we're going to tokenize their agriculture, and we're going to tokenize their gold and copper mine. In essence, we're creating a sovereign wealth fund, but in a decentralized form. Now, how does this benefit the community? Well, it keeps the money circulating within the community. That's one of the biggest problems that we have, not only in Africa, but around the world. There's a lot of extraction. So money goes in, money comes out. Money is constantly coming out, and as a result, there's no liquidity. There's no money for the people within the country, within that community, to survive. So if they need seed, fertilizer, whatever, there's just no way for them to. Nobody's going to lend them the money. And when they do, they usually lend them at extractive interest rates. So we go in and we basically allow them to register through our platform. We've got bids called Bidder Livestock, so they can register their cattle, their goats, their what else? If they're growing any type of produce, they can do that as well. We're going to be tokenizing the actual water as well. Boreholes. We're setting up towers with tanks, water tanks that will all be gravity fed. So now all of a sudden, they got access to clean water they can use for drinking and also watering their plants, so they don't have to wait for the rain. This increases their seasons to now just waiting for one season, which is waiting on the rainy season. They have 3 seasons in a year because in Canada half of the year we're frozen, but people are still farming. They're farming in these greenhouses. I've been to some of these massive greenhouses that are it's like minus 40 outside, but inside it's like paradise, and they're growing all types of produce. So with the right infrastructure in place, we can help to increase the yield. One of the other things we're doing is we're setting up solar farms because people need electricity. You need to be able to power your watering systems, your irrigation systems. You need to power your tanks, your pumps. We're also setting up fish ponds so that people can start doing fisheries and raising fish. Simple fish like bream. That increases the protein. So now all of a sudden these communities aren't suffering from malnutrition. They're getting protein, they're getting vegetables, and it's all within their economy. And at the same time, we're going to reinvest into the gold and copper mine, right? So that all goes into the token.
Wow.
And we're doing the same thing in North America. So now with the diaspora in Canada, in the US, people are within the African communities, they'll be able to send money through our payment rails. So instead of using other people's payment rails, they use our payment rails. So the money stays within our ecosystem. So that's what we built.
Man, that is profound and that is very impactful. And again, I'm excited that we're having the chance to talk about that because at the end of the day, our world has changed and, South Africa has realized some of the gifts that it carries, just from minerals and, some of the gold and some of the things, silver, but just the people and the history and the background. I'm excited to, be partnering with you. I think it's a big deal. And what type of links can we put so that those who watch this show so they can do some research so that they can get information? Do you have anything that you could share?
Yeah, so they can go to ndapi.com. They can go to ndapicoin.com. And we're on all the socials. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook and TikTok. And we post a lot of videos. Actually, we're on YouTube as well. This is going to go on YouTube as well. So we're everywhere. You can reach out directly. We have a Telegram channel as well. Go to our X account and click on our Telegram, and you can link up and ask us questions. We're about to go. We've just signed some very big investors. We're about to get listed on two of the top exchanges in the world. So look out for our ICO. It's coming soon. And yeah, we're just pretty excited, Derek. I think we brought you on as our cultural ambassador to reach out to all the different groups, and I think you're going to do a fantastic job.
Well, I'm just excited we had a chance to have this conversation. And the only thing I want to say is I see the logo on your chest. Can you bring it up so people can take a look at it? Yeah, so they can see what it is. And my thinking is, again, I think, what Tyrone is helping lead and helping organize is something that can change people's lives all over the world. And we have to be open. We can't be, we just got to give it an opportunity, and then let's figure out how we can integrate ourselves so we can all have success, because everybody can win. That's all I have for you, Tyrone.
Well, I'm going to try one more time to play this song for you, Derek, because I want everybody to listen, because I just love your story.
University.
It just resonates with me so much.
The university.
I just want to let everybody know about.
Some people go to universities where they're chosen.
That's
Others
real
go to
right there. That's
universities
real.
where
That's
they're
great,
tested.
man. I don't know how you did that.
Balls didn't have an
That's
agent.
powerful,
He didn't
and I'm
have a
thankful.
recruiter. He didn't have a
you
system.
took
He
those
flew
lyrics
himself
and
to
turned
Long
them
Beach
into,
State with nothing
it
but
got potential to be a
belief.
hit.
Sat in the
It's got
crowd at the
potential to be a
pro-am
hit.
game next to the director of the feedlot pro-am league. She turned to him and asked one question.
Do you want to play against the Lakers?
That wasn't an invitation, that was a test. Derek said yes. He guarded Kobe Bryant for
Absolutely.
3 quarters. And by the end of
Absolutely.
that
Well, I
game,
appreciate
everything
us having
changed.
this
Soon
time.
after,
I
he signed his
appreciate
first
us getting
professional
on
contract
University through
in Taipei,
Adversity, and
Taiwan.
I'm looking
Sometimes the
forward
world
to circling
believes in
back
you somewhere
for our
verse
next
first.
interview.
This is university through adversity. The education you get when no one is coming to
Absolutely.
save you.
All right.
Welcome
Take
to
care.
Courage to